I'm Gabrielle Ruth Little, your host of Girl Talk Pod. Join me on my many adventures as I navigate through all the shit life has to offer. The rule here is no expectations. Not low expectations, but no expectations. You never know what you're going to hear from this 20-something-year-old who believes in being a student for life. Whether it's through a solo episode just hanging out, or with a badass guest. Welcome to Girl Talk Pod. Let's talk.
All right. Hey guys, welcome to episode 13 of Girl Talk Pod, our first ever guest episode. Doing solo pod for 12 episodes has been really fun, but the original goal of Girl Talk was to get some really cool people on the show. And when I was picking the first guest, I went through a lot of ideas and like what I wanted to do, but I decided to really take it home. So today I have one of my best friends on the pod, and I was like, there's no better person to come on that knows me better, and we're just going to talk, and this is kind of a test run for us, and we're going to see where it goes. A little backstory is 2021, I actually asked her to come on, or asked her to start a podcast with me, and she said no. And now here we are in 2024. Doing our first guest episode together. So Christina, I'm not going to say her last name because
it's a mystery.
It is. And there's about 5 names. So this is Christina. Hi.
Christina.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling hungover, actually.
What did you do last night? You fucking psycho.
I just went to dinner. Just had a little dinner.
In Dallas?
Champagne. Yeah.
Oh my God.
You didn't know that?
No.
We haven't talked to each other in 24 hours. Oh my God. What's happening to us?
Christina and I do these daily yaps, about an hour and a half on the phone every single day.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about why you're here.
Yeah, why am I here?
Well, I want to thank you for coming on and being my first guest.
Yeah.
But just kind of introduce yourself a little bit and give me your perspective of how we met, because this has been our biggest and only fight in our friendship. And we were just talking about this.
Yes.
So let me hear it.
Okay. Well, you and I met in a car.
Okay. Allegedly.
Randomly one night. I only saw you then. We didn't really connect. And then one night I'm at a Trump party for some reason.
Big Trump girl.
big Trump girl. I rolled in there looking like a commie.
Yeah.
With my ripped jeans and fishnets and leather jacket and beret hat.
Yes.
And I'm standing there talking to somebody, and all of a sudden you run up to me and you're like, I know you.
Yes, that is true.
And I was like, yeah, I recognize you.
Yeah, I wanted to be your friend so bad.
I love
that. I worked for this company, and my boss was super conservative, and we had a Trump party. And Christina's not a Trump supporter, far from it. And I just see her, and she gave you a brief detail of what she was wearing, but it was like, I was in business casual attire, like Calvin Klein shirt, slacks, just got off of work. And this girl's in ripped jeans and fishnet tights, a beret. And I was like, oh my God. This is love? It was just one of those moments. I was like, I've got to be friends with her. And our friendship just kind of exploded from there. We just spent a lot of time together.
Yeah.
So what, I guess, as we became friends, what drew you to me, and then I'll tell you what drew me to you.
I think for one, I really loved your energy. You're not like a lot of people in Dallas. And I just loved how open you were. And I feel like you're just a very authentic person. What you see is what you get. There's no bullshitting or anything like that. And as I got to know you, I really became inspired by your ambition and the way you kind of set your mind to something, and then you go for it, and you get it done. And I think it's so great. And I think it's important to surround yourself around people that you look up to, that you aspire to, that also motivate you and keep you, in
Yeah.
a good headspace.
Yeah.
So.
No, absolutely. I mean, whenever I met you, it was just like you were instantly like a knower of all things. And I just like loved that so much. And that has to do with, which is a question I'm going to ask you in a second, just about how you've all like walked, like the experiences that
How I know
you've,
everything.
how you know everything. Yeah, we're going to
don't.
figure out how you know everything, because it doesn't matter the subject or the topic. Christina knows the answer. So I'm going to ask you kind of background of like where and how you figured that all out. But also the energy was the same. It was like you walk into a room and it's just electrifying. Like you just brighten it up.
What?
And it is, girl, you know this. Get out of
She's
here.
hitting on me.
Get out of here. So yeah, I just think that like our energy together, like we can do absolutely anything together and make it fun, and it can be the most like monotonous task or the most like crazy.
Like riding around in a shopping cart.
Yes. I did push Christina in a shopping cart for about a mile once. I did do that. And so just to build off of that earlier, something that I've always admired about you is how knowledgeable you are. But I believe that has to do with the fact that you've like lived all over and experienced so many things, like lived in different countries.
Yeah.
And so just kind of like tell me about where you've lived, how you got to Dallas now. You're born and raised in Texas in the DFW area. So just like tell me about your story.
So like you said, I was born and raised in Dallas. I never imagined moving from here. But what actually happened is I was in a long-term relationship. It was like a 5-year relationship. And when that ended, I realized that there was a lot of exploring that I wanted to do. And I didn't imagine that I would end up like ever leaving the state. But I had made some friends down in Austin, went to Austin for like the first time. I loved the energy of the city. And I was like, I think this is for me. And one day I just literally up and left. Didn't even like tell people what I was doing. I just left.
And I'm still scared you're going to do that to me like soon.
Kind of my MO. But, and I got to Austin. I had a great time, but I lasted maybe 6 months before I was like, ooh, this is just not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was around that time that one of my best friends was living in Los Angeles. And she's like, girl, you got to come out here. You're going to love it. I was a wardrobe stylist, so it made a lot of sense to be out there with the industry and everything. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. I pretty much went to Los Angeles like sight unseen and fell in love with the place. The weather, the people, funny enough, because everyone like complains about them, but LA natives are actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
But everyone out there is so ambitious and trying to like do their own thing. And they're very like health conscious and the weather's perfect and there's so much to do. And when you come from Dallas, you think Dallas is pretty big, but it isn't until you go to a large city that you're like, oh my gosh, Dallas is actually very small.
Yeah.
So I was living the dream out in LA and I quickly learned that it is a very expensive place.
Mm-hmm.
It is also wildly competitive. So I had been traveling to Vegas to work trade shows as a little trade show model to basically fund my life out in Los Angeles.
LA. Yeah.
To the point that I was having to go to a trade show like almost every single week. And one night I'm out there because, you start to meet everyone and I meet this girl and she's like, so what are you doing? Why are you here? Like, do you live here? I see you all the time, but then you like go away. I was like, oh, so I actually, live out in LA, but I've been coming out here to work. I'm a stylist, but it's super competitive out there, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, well, wait a minute. We're actually looking for someone that does what you do out here. Would you want to do an interview? And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, Vegas. I don't know if I can imagine myself living in Vegas. Like I come here, I tear it up, I leave. Sucks the energy out of me. But I went ahead and I took the interview because it was with my dream company at the time. And of course, I got offered the job. Of course, like who doesn't want to hire me? But I was still pretty unsure. And then I got a call from one of my girlfriends out in Austin. She's like, I'm going to be moving to Vegas, so I'll be a lot closer to Los Angeles. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, just got a job offer in Vegas. And I realized like, okay, maybe I should give this a shot because it is my dream job with my dream company. And I'm actually going to have like a little bit of a safety net there of people that I know. So why not? I don't know. Why not just give it a shot? And I did. And to be honest, my first year was really tough getting into the groove of what it is in Vegas. But I ended up lasting there the longest. Most of my friends left by the time I was still there. I stayed for 7 years.
Yeah.
But Vegas is a very just constantly moving machine. And there are no holidays. And I spent a lot of my time working and making money, but like I was not really seeing my family. I was just saving up a bunch of money, and I was like, for what? What am I doing? What's my plan here? And I realized like I want to travel. I want to get out of here. I really haven't even been on vacation in years, because I'm constantly working. And when you're out there, it always feels like you're kind of on vacation because it's a different life. But
Yeah.
I wanted to get out. And I had a couple friends who were coming back from Colombia. And so I had one girlfriend, she traveled there and she came back. She's like, oh, Colombia is amazing. You'd love it. You should go sometime. Okay. Then I had another friend go to Colombia and they come back and they're like, oh, it's amazing. You should go. And then I had someone reach out on Facebook and they were like, hey, I see you're in Vegas. I am living in Colombia right now, but I should be in Vegas like over in January. And I'm like, why does Colombia keep coming up? And I was like, you know
Calling
what?
you.
I think this is a calling. And so I was like, it's funny you say that because I've actually been thinking about traveling to Colombia. I will see you in 2 months.
Beautiful.
And my original plan was to go to Colombia and then travel around South America. I'm not the best at planning. I'm very like go with the flow type of person. So what I didn't realize is that it's actually very difficult to travel around South America. There's a lot of mountains. So it's not so like taking a bus, what could be a 2-hour flight is like a 15-hour drive. Which I'm obviously not going to make. And I don't want to make a 15-hour bus drive.
Yeah.
Especially when you're just like winding through the mountains like that. And then flying is actually kind of expensive.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't anticipate that. And I definitely like to travel on a budget. I'm kind of liking myself to be a little travel hacker. So that wasn't part of the plan either. But either way, I got to Medellin and I like instantly fell in love with the place. I flew in the evening. The airport is kind of up in the mountains. Medellin, if you've never been, is kind of like a valley and it sits right at the bottom. So everything is just surrounded. And I'm driving in and it's just the city is just like glowing, but you can tell that you're in like a forest. It's beautiful. And I ended up staying.
Yeah.
I had also gotten into a relationship at the time, but either way, I loved being out there. It's so beautiful. It's, you would walk out of your apartment and there would just be trees right in your face.
Yeah.
And it's actually the number 2 exporter of flowers in the world.
Oh, so it's stunning.
And it's so stunningly beautiful.
Gosh.
And the people are great. And I think that's what's kind of important about traveling is getting to know the culture and getting to know the people and seeing how other people live their lives, because not a lot of people live the way Americans do. And you quickly realize what actually is important.
Yeah.
So I kind of parked it in Colombia for about 3 months, pretty much as long as you can stay before they kick you out without a visa.
Yeah.
And then my ex is Moroccan. So he was going to go back to Morocco. And I was going to go back to the States. And then he was like, well, why don't you come out to Morocco? And I was like, yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did. And then I was living in Morocco for a bit. And from there, I traveled all over Morocco for one. It's a pretty tiny country, which is nice because you get to see a lot. The culture is incredible. The food is incredible. Everyone is so great. And then when you're over in that area, it's actually a lot easier to travel places, and it's a lot cheaper
Yeah.
in Europe to travel around. So bounced around to a few countries and explored, the Mediterranean.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And then you found yourself back in Vegas.
I did.
Yeah.
So eventually, so the thing about living the kind of nomad life is you quickly start to feel like you don't have any roots.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I loved living that way, it started to kind of get to me a little bit. I was feeling a little off balance. Also, my family is from Mexico. So any type of Latin culture, I blend in easily because it's all kind of, familiar. But with Moroccan culture, I was very out of my element. They only speak Arabic or French.
Yeah.
2 languages I don't know how to speak or read. So not the knower of all things.
Yeah. Not the knower of Arabic or French.
Yes.
Okay. Noted.
Yeah. So, I really kind of needed to get back home and convinced him to go back to Vegas. And park it there because Vegas was actually very affordable and it's a great kind of like central hub to bounce around. So kind of parked it there for a little bit, but I actually wasn't done living in other places. I kind of turned my place into an Airbnb, and then we went to Puerto Rico. I was living in Puerto Rico for a little bit, and then eventually moved to San Francisco. So I don't know how many cities
a lot
that is, but it's a lot. I've lived, I feel like, everywhere.
Yeah. So just like advice for people that because I love Dallas so much, and it's like, it's super weird because I was in 8 different school districts from like kindergarten to graduating high school.
Yeah.
I was born overseas. I've lived all over in different parts of the US. But like once I came to Dallas, like I'm terrified, like not terrified to leave, but like I don't see myself leaving Dallas unless like I've traveled everywhere and I've never like found anywhere that I'm like, I want to like live and pack up and like move. And there's a little bit of a fear there because like my family's here and my friends are here. But like advice for someone that is probably like thinking about moving or like contemplating it, like how do you go to a city and just like start over and with plans, without plans? I know it's a little different if you've got like a job or family there.
Yeah.
But like what advice would you have?
I mean, I don't know
or
that
give?
I've lived anywhere with the intention of moving there. And I'm not sure that the fear is anything that ever goes away. Every time I moved, there was always, fear behind it. How am I going to make it work? Especially when I did not have jobs lined up, except for the Vegas situation, every other place, I did not have anything lined up, not even where I was going to live. But I think miracles lie just on the other end of fear, and you have to push through it because funny enough, you're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
You kind of have to throw yourself into the fire in order to figure that out. I mean, I would say if you don't really have the desire to move anywhere, then don't, if you're happy where you're at, but I do think that you will learn more about yourself, who you are, what you want, if you step outside of your comfort zone and try something different and live somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it might even show you like, did I even like living there in the first place? Or was I just scared to leave?
For sure.
I think a lot of people do live in a very fear-based mentality. But
yeah. Which I don't like, it's like a double-edged sword, what you were talking about of like leaning into the fear. Would you agree that like being fearful and then taking that like next step out of your comfort zone can like lead to like so much like greater opportunity?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you kind of have to. When I was out in LA, I was very fearful of how I was going to pay my bills. Ended up, making it work, going out to Vegas, and that's how I got offered my dream job.
Yeah.
It was also I was working with this company, and they ended up applying to an accelerator called 500 Startups out in San Francisco. And that's how I ended up getting one of the best educations in my life when it comes to business. And so, it's scary, but you've got to try, because nothing worth it is ever comfortable.
Sure.
And nothing worth it is ever easy either.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to take risks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a cliche, but like your comfort zone will kill you.
Yeah.
You've experienced and you've lived
Mm-hmm.
so much.
Mm-hmm.
Living out of the country, because that's always intrigued me as well. Like
highly recommend. But
like, honestly, like, would you ever choose to live like out of the US, or like, do you think that like,
oh, for sure,
you like permanently never come back to the US? Like US
never
living versus
US.
like,
I mean, my family's here, so
yeah.
I would have to come and visit. Could I see myself permanently living in another country? Totally.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I really loved Italy. I really loved Paris. Like I could see myself living somewhere in Europe. I also loved Spain. I think, kind of going back to what I was saying, where any kind of Latin-based country I feel a lot more comfortable with, just because of my culture.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably have an easier time somewhere like that, but you make it work. And honestly, a lot of people in other countries speak English.
Yeah.
Because it's, number 2 language in the world, I think.
Yeah. So. It's not as like scary and like putting yourself into like a place where like you're not gonna be able to like communicate and like get around.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing you'll find, a lot of people will have things to say about like, oh, I don't want to travel there. I hear that people are awful and they're rude and blah, blah, blah. How people treat you in other countries is directly related to how you are to them.
Yes.
If you go in there like, speaking English with the assumption that everyone speaks English, they're going to be like, who are you? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But for the most part, if you go in there and you try your best and, are polite, people actually very much want to help you.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a time where I was actually stranded in Italy with like no cell phone service, no, I like couldn't get around. I like didn't have anything. And I started like getting visibly upset in the street, and people instantly started helping me. They're like, is everything okay? What can I do for you? Blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just so nice. And I've had that happen multiple times, even just kind of wandering around looking lost.
Yeah.
And people come up and be like, are you lost? I'm like,
I don't have that face. I don't have that face.
I didn't know I had that face either, because I feel like I always know where I'm going. And even if I don't, I just pretend like I do. But there's been a couple times where I guess I looked like a deer in the headlights.
No one helps me ever. No.
Don't say that. They'll help you for sure. People are very nice.
I just have like a do it myself face, or like I don't ask for help, because that's kind of hard for me.
I don't ask for help.
Yeah, but people want to give it to you.
I know. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, let's bring it to like present tense a little bit.
Okay.
I want to talk about just like change in careers, relationships, friendships. But first I want to ask you, let me preface this. So we have a little bit of an age gap, a little bit.
Yeah.
And so like, just as you've been through more life, just a little bit more life than me, and we became like best friends. And it's not common. I just feel like if the roles were reversed, like I don't think that I would be friends with someone like younger than me, like I am to you, because I just
well, and I really, don't have friends that are younger, and that's where I was kind of going back to where I was saying, like, you're very much not like, other people.
Yeah.
And I don't typically have younger friends, but I didn't even realize for the longest time that you were so young.
A child.
And then you're like, I'm turning 23. And I was like, you're turning what?
How old are you?
I'm 20.
Well, so with that, like I've been able to, you've kind of helped me avoid, and sometimes I don't listen, but
Totally. But you know what? That's fine. Like I'm here to offer my advice from my experiences. Do what you will with the information.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to judge you when it
Shit
goes
goes
exactly
wrong.
how I told you it
Yeah.
was going to go.
Yeah.
But like, you know, you have to, advice is always something, you know, you want to take from others who've experienced, but you're not going to learn on your own until you make those mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's important.
Mm-hmm.
That's honestly, I think that's how I gained so much of my wisdom is by really, really screwing up.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that for us.
You're welcome.
Just to build off of that, it's you've, you know, through our friendship, you've witnessed two long-term relationships from me from start to finish.
I love that you've had 2 boyfriends in all this time and I've had 0.
Yeah.
I'm picky though.
Yeah, I'm not.
I know you're not.
So as you've known me, what are some of the habits you've seen in relationships, mistakes, horror stories, or straight up I told you so moments? Feel free to roast me, but like just leave names out.
I'm definitely not going to roast you for anything. I think you've made the same mistakes that we've all made and that a lot of women will make. And it is that we will kind of project an idea onto a person, or we will straight up ignore the red flags. Because
I'm colorblind.
Because we're colorblind. Because red is really pretty.
I'm like a bull, you know?
Yes, exactly. Because I don't know that you've made any mistakes that I have not made. And I think that also comes with like moving a little bit too fast. There have been times where I would just meet someone and I'm like, oh, this is the person. And we start getting involved and things start moving very quickly. And then I decided that I love this person. And then problems start to come up. And they're not the kind of problems that normal relationships work through. It's like, no, girl, these are red flags in a person and you need to go the other direction. But instead, you know, I would tell myself like, well, this is what love is. This is like, it's compromise and it's working through things and it's, you know, loving someone for how they are. And it's like, you shouldn't really accept manipulation from a person. That's not love.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think you're learning.
I am. Hopefully.
You're learning.
Hopefully.
She's learning.
So to red flags, would you say are like some red flags like in a relationship? Give me some. And I don't have to be the example. But
man, I mean, definitely poor communication is absolutely a red flag. Especially not addressing issues. If someone has like a problem, if you guys end up in a particular situation, have some kind of problem, get into a fight, whatever, and then it's like next day we just gloss over that and don't even address the issue at hand, that's a big time red flag.
Yeah.
That's
just sweeping things under the rug.
Sweeping things under the rug. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not going to get better.
Yeah. For sure.
Let's see. What are some other red flags?
Some other ones. I guess just what about like projection of like unhealed trauma or like unhealed things?
So yes and no, because I feel like in a relationship, it's not 2 lives becoming one. It's 2 separate lives doing life together. And when you love somebody, nobody's perfect. We all have our issues. We all grew up differently and we're all working through things, but it's about working with that person on what their issues might be. Now, if that person you can't change somebody. They have to want to change themselves. And if that person doesn't want to change themselves or work on themselves, yeah, you're not going to have any luck.
Yeah.
And you're
Red flag.
You're better. Red flag.
Red flag.
You're better off going the
We
other
should
direction.
we should start carrying around like penalty flags.
Yes.
And,
Yes,
like,
we
throwing
should.
them at people.
Yeah.
Like oh, someone opens their mouth.
Here, you drop this.
Yeah.
Sir,
If you see
you dropped
Christina and I
this.
running around Dallas with penalty flags, now you know why.
I mean, we're known for running around,
Anyways,
doing our antics. So
Yeah.
I can only see us doing
it's
this
just
in
an
the
added accessory.
Exactly.
Okay, well, to inverse green flags.
Green flags.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like 1, 2. You can
name one green flag.
You can name one. Name one.
I mean, I would say it still goes back to communication,
Mhm.
and not just communication, but comprehension. Because you
Yeah.
can tell somebody something all day, but are they going to actually
Yeah.
comprehend what you're saying? But being open and honest with each other so that you can progress is, I think, a big one.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to like love all the same things. I don't think you need to be doing everything together. In fact, I think it's kind of like not that great to be doing everything together 24/7.
Yeah. Have a balance.
But being with someone that you're able to live your own life together with them
Yeah.
is, I think, a major green flag.
Green flag.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So
Also, a really hot body.
a really hot body is a green flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone that takes care of themselves,
Mhm.
prioritizes health, and then the hot body comes in. Yeah.
Mhm.
Love
Yeah.
that. It's not a non-negotiable, but like it's up there.
No, it's not negotiable.
Oh, okay. It is.
Just kidding.
Okay. To segue into like friendships, we've been friends for so long. You've seen me struggle in friendships. I've seen you struggle in like other friendships.
Yeah.
With girlfriends, and like you and I really don't fight. Like, and if
No.
like it's crazy. Like if
Yeah.
we've maybe gotten into like one argument besides like
How we
we
met.
met. But, like, and it was more of just like I was caught up in my relationship and like neglecting my friends.
Yeah.
And you were really the only friend that like, well, besides like Brooke maybe, that like really called me out on it and was just like, hey girl,
Yeah.
like, you've been really neglecting our friendship and
Yeah.
I'm just kind of feeling like isolated over here.
Yeah.
Communication's not good.
Yeah.
But other than that, we don't really have fights.
No.
And we spend
I
a
don't
lot
even
of
think that was really a fight.
Yeah.
That was
just a little tiff.
Yeah.
But that's like it. I've had friends that I haven't talked to for months because of
Mhm.
arguments and stuff. And then you've had friends that you've ended relationships with.
Yeah.
So just kind of talk to me about like female friendships and just kind of like what at this point in your life, like what are you like not settling for in female friendships, or like what is that? What do they look like for you?
Well, I mean, I think, relationships are relationships. Doesn't matter if it's an intimate relationship, a friendship, or even a professional relationship. And it comes down to how people are treating each other.
Mhm.
Relationships, it does take work in a sense that you need to be communicating, letting someone know how you're feeling and things like that. But it shouldn't be a struggle.
Yeah.
And there shouldn't really be like fighting, And I think it's same thing. Like with some of my friendships that ended, there were a lot of red flags that I kind of glossed over because I'm like, oh, that's my friend. And it doesn't matter. I love them. I trust them, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, if you see your friend lying all the time and you think it's cute because like you're in on the lie, that might be something to consider.
Yeah.
Or if you have a friend who is constantly talking shit about someone that they call their friend, you need to understand that they're probably doing the same thing to you. And that's kind of what happened to me. I had some very close friends that, as it turns out, they were speaking negatively behind my back. And then that would feed into they never communicated with me any issue. They only communicated with each other of the issue, and then basically just let that fester between them, and then, kind of pushed me out.
Yeah.
But really, when it was all said and done and it ended, I just knew like these are not my friends.
Yeah.
These aren't my friends. And one thing that I've learned over time and through any relationship is that if a relationship is not good, you need to end it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the sooner you end it, the faster you're going to let new people into your life that will treat you better.
Yeah.
And you realize like how much time you wasted with like the wrong person. It doesn't matter if it was a lover or a friend. Like,
Yeah.
and you know, honestly, like even when some of those relationships ended, we had been friends already, but I do think it allowed us to kind of like grow even closer because we realized like some of our friends are actually like, why aren't we hanging out
Yeah.
more? Why are we hanging out with these people?
Yeah,
Like,
no, for sure. I was looking at photos of us today, like just there was a gap. And I was like that. Then once we started like hanging out more, that was around the time that like some of your relationships have like dissolved. And I was like, what were we doing during that gap? But it just makes sense. You were just hanging out with.
I was hanging out with them a lot. I think you were also in a relationship.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Ugh.
Ugh.
So that's kind of like a good, that's like a theme kind of in my life right now, is just like cutting out like negative energy,
Yeah.
whatever that looks like career. I just quit my job.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Relationship, and then just like no one that's like, I'm not keeping anyone in my life that's like causing negative energy or like bringing me down in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen my life flourish since I
Mm-hmm.
started like having that boundary of like, if it's not serving me, and I'm not saying it has to be like a what can you do for me type situation. I'm just saying like, if you're draining me
Yeah.
or causing any like ounce of negative just like energy in my life, like I'm gonna have to cut you out because I gotta put me first.
Yeah.
And life has just like exploded.
Yeah. I mean, relationships are definitely an energy exchange. Humans are energy. So when you're around people that are kind of like constantly negative, you're going to start getting into that mindset, and you're also going to start doubting yourself. Like who you surround yourself with is very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
Absolutely.
So
that to round out this section about just change and job, like career. So talk to me like what we're doing right now with work. And you were doing event design with a company, and then you decided to remove yourself from that situation because it was no longer serving you.
Yeah.
And now tell me what you're like, where your head's at. Tell me what it looks like, what career looks like for you right now.
Yeah. So I'm still essentially doing the same thing, but I've decided to take the reins into my own hands. And, for the listeners that don't know, I am an event designer. I mostly work with companies in doing like brand activations. So product launches and, things that involve like social media posts. And I actually did something for you one time.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
We have some pictures from that.
Yeah. So I've been doing that, but kind of going back to what you said, it's when something is no longer serving you, you need to end it. My first business, I was actually a photographer. And I really wanted to be a fashion photographer, but this was Dallas back in the day. And, for people who don't know, it's a very small circle and it's very hard to break into because it's not as explosive as Los Angeles. So I had been shooting a lot of family portraiture, but I was 18 at the time.
Yeah.
Like I can't relate to the idea of wanting a family and being around kids. And I was great with kids and the photos were great and that was all fine. But I realized I was like, this is not what I want to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to work in fashion. And the only way I could actually break into that was by becoming a photo assistant for fashion shoots. And, I was always kind of known as like, I don't want to say party girl because I feel like that sends it the wrong direction, but definitely someone who likes
You're a party girl.
Yeah. I am definitely someone who likes to dress up. I make my costumes. I'm a theater kid, okay?
Yeah.
And an artist. Like, it's just, you are who you are. Yeah, I like to have fun. Clearly, if I'm starting an events company.
Sue me.
All right, fine. I like to party. I'm a party girl.
But like, who better to plan your parties?
Yeah, like I've lived in Vegas for 7 years. I've been partying for 1,000. Like I think I know what I'm doing. I got this. I can create the vibe. Chief vibe officer.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Add that to your
So,
LinkedIn profile.
But like, being that I was known that way already, they were like, hey, do you mind bringing a couple things to like help style this model? We don't know what to do. We're trying to do this and whatever. And I show up with like this massive suitcase and all these things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we love it. And the shoot went great. And that is what actually led to my styling career. Then they just like decided, hey, can you come style this? Can you come style that? And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm a stylist now. Like,
yeah.
Didn't even think of that. And that's how I ended up, taking it all the way to LA and then Vegas.
Yeah.
So you've got to kind of explore, and
Yeah.
you've also got to just quit. There's nothing, never quit. No, totally quit right now. Quit immediately. Actually, one of the biggest things that they teach you in Silicon Valley is like, if you're going to fail fast. And I have taken that concept and applied it everywhere in my life. Like if something is not working, cut it out, because there is a big difference between like endurance and spinning your wheels.
Yeah.
And it takes time to kind of identify,
For sure.
the more you do it, the more you're able to recognize where you need to work a little bit harder and where you need to cut things off.
Yeah. Just less time wasted.
It's less time wasted. Time is the most valuable thing that we have. It's priceless and you don't get it back.
Yeah.
So why are you wasting it?
Yeah.
Like, get out there and do things.
Do it.
And quit. And break up. and come party with me.
Break up with your boyfriend, quit your job, and party with Christina.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
You're gonna
right now.
love your life now.
You are. I'm happy. Okay. Before we play a little game.
Playing games.
Playing a game.
Mind games.
What's going on with us like right now? What are we doing?
What's going on between us?
What do we got coming up? We have a trip.
Wait, what do we have? Oh yeah,
we're going to Montana.
We're going to Montana.
Yes,
Hannah, Montana.
Yes, we're going to Montana. We're camping.
Which
like
is honestly not our first time.
It's not.
Not our first time pitching a tent.
Nope. But we got invited to this trip, and we were like, Montana ranch.
We thought
rodeo.
We were gonna be chilling.
Yeah, we were like, this is our Bella Hadid era. Like, we're gonna go find a cowboy, and then we get put in this group message, and they're like, we're riverboat camping.
It's like 30-something people.
Yeah, and they're like, make sure to pack your tent,
bring a water bag.
Yeah,
so your stuff doesn't count.
Like, water shoes,
because you're going to be bringing your luggage onto the raft.
Yeah,
and I'm like, wait, because I'm out here like planning these outfits. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have like a cute denim dress. I'm gonna have boots, my hat, and that. It's like, no, bitch.
Birkenstocks and yes,
you need to bring some camping gear.
Yeah, no. So we're in for it. I mean, again, we've camped. We pitched a tent. Did we have showers and a car right next to us?
Yes.
And a little
Did
generator.
We have an air mattress
and silk sheets. Yes.
I showed someone our camping picture of our tent, and they go, "Is that an air mattress?"
Yes.
Are those fairy lights?
Yes.
Yeah. Like I said, chief vibe officer.
But hey, we still camped and slept outside.
We still did it. We still roughed it. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a little rough.
Yeah, it was, and we're gonna talk about it. All right, I think I hit kind of everything. We could talk forever about everything.
Talk forever.
But we're gonna play a little game where I'm gonna pull up a picture, and you've seen them briefly.
I don't know what you posted it or like sent this, but I don't know but look how dark your hair is.
And long it is.
Dark and long.
Yeah. So I just want to.
Where are we?
We are at. It doesn't exist anymore, but it's called Oak. It's in Design District, and it's I think the first time that we took mushrooms together, and you
Probably
woke
why
up.
I don't remember.
Yeah, you woke up at my house, freaking out. Didn't know where you were the next day. But this was one of the first times we hung out. This was like November 2020, so like right after we met.
Wow.
And yeah, so it was like a steakhouse. We were with the most random people, and then like went out in Dallas. I took you home, tucked you in bed, and then I went back out to finish the night. Yeah,
Nice.
and that's probably why you didn't know where the fuck you were the next morning, because we had just started hanging out.
Okay.
But yeah, that was that.
Huh.
Uh-huh.
Memories.
Yeah. All right, let's see.
Maybe?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So Christina and I are Ren Fest.
We're Rennies.
Ren girlies.
We're wenches.
We are. We're wenches. I grew up going to the Texas Ren Fair, and it's kind of close to Houston, like an hour outside of Houston, kind of close to College Station a little bit. And it's the biggest Ren Fair in the country.
Mhm.
They actually have a documentary out right now. It's kind of weird.
I saw the first episode.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. But we went, and like it's a whole thing. Like you camp, you can camp, or you could just
You
go.
don't have to. But
You don't have to.
You should.
You definitely should. We're going this year. Again, we're gonna go actually for the rest of our lives. But
Yes.
So you go and you camp, and it's like LARPing. Like we talk in accents.
Straight up.
We everybody is just so cool. These on the campgrounds, they build clans.
Yes.
We started our own
We did.
Spitfire clan.
Spitfire.
This year is the inaugural year of it. And so the one on the right is actually Texas Ren Fest, and the left is Scarborough Fair.
Mhm.
We matched, and we were little Celtic wenches. Last year we were
elf fairies.
elf fairy Celtic. I was a
Whatever that
royal
was.
Celtic wench.
Oh, okay.
And you were an
I was
elf.
a fairy.
You were a fairy.
She was a fairy.
Yes. And then we went for Pirates Weekend. So we kind of did like a pirate vibe for Texas Ren Fest. But
Yeah.
so fun.
It was so fun.
That's probably like the best experience of last year, and like our friendship.
Yeah, for sure.
Like when I was saying I can do anything with Christina, this is one of them. Is like none of my other friends would ever want to go to Ren Fest.
Which I think is
It's
so
wild.
sad. That's sad.
Yeah, I need to
Like, how can you
reevaluate.
describe this to people and them not be like,
Exactly.
I want to be there. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, and that was the thing. Like, so Ren Fair culture is very much rave culture.
Yeah.
And if
Swinger
you've ever
culture.
been to it's swinger culture, but if you've ever been to a rave or like EDC, you know that a lot of the people there, it's just like good energy, good vibes. Everyone's so kind. They're like, oh, have this or whatever. There's a big like gifting tables
Yeah,
everywhere. Honestly,
leave one, take one.
It's also kind of very much Burning Man culture.
Yeah.
Like if you like those things, you're gonna like Ren Fair.
Yeah.
And everyone's in costume, just having fun, and
Yeah.
you're just eating turkey legs, which I don't even think existed
It-
in
yeah.
the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
And you're,
Drinking mead.
drinking mead.
We're walking around this festival holding bottles of mead.
But I don't think people know what mead is.
it's
It's
a honey.
It's a honey wine.
Yeah, it's fermented honey.
It was
Wine made from honey.
the
It's
first time I'd
delicious.
ever heard of it. First
Yeah.
time I ever tried it. It's
Yeah.
delicious. It's so drinkable. Too drinkable, actually.
Yes, and it doesn't like you get like tipsy, but you get kind of
I'm
like
actually holding mead.
yeah, you are holding mead.
Oh,
But
yummy.
you kind of get it's like a euphoric feeling. It's
Yeah.
weird.
You don't.
It's like you feel
don't-
high a little.
Yeah, you don't get drunk in the same way.
Yeah.
but like you can tell you're definitely buzzed.
Yeah, feeling
but
good.
you don't feel like I
Yeah.
don't know.
It was
It's
just so
nice.
it was so fun. Like we're gonna go like blow it out this year with our
Yes.
clan inauguration
Yes.
and we're just gonna have such a fun time.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the outfits this year. We're going again for Pirates Weekend. I think like
Hopefully.
yeah. There's a big party, which we won't get into too much detail.
We won't?
I don't know. I mean,
You don't want to tell them?
tell the story. I'll tell the story. I don't know. I might have
What
to.
was it called again?
Booty. Call of Booty.
Call of Booty.
Yeah. So Call of Duty it's on the campgrounds, and like campgrounds versus fair is like completely different.
Yeah.
Like it is like PG.
You
like
need to be careful on the campgrounds.
You got to be
if you're
careful.
Bringing your
Yes.
family.
Don't
and
bring.
There is a family section, but
don't let your
don't
kids
wander too deep into the campground.
Yeah, because we did the first night, and like we got like this man flashed us his flaccid.
I mean. And I don't want to defend a man here, but we did walk into a swingers tent.
We did walk
which
into
we
a
were not
swinger.
aware of.
Yeah. He was like, "You want to see something?" Kilt lifted.
Yeah. I was like, "Ah!" We immediately ran out of that tent.
Yes, we did. But there's a party called Call of Booty. And it is I don't even know how to describe it, but just to like give you a little.
It's like a game show.
A game show.
Live game show.
Yes. And you just don't know what's gonna happen.
You don't know what's gonna happen, but here's what I can tell you. You walk up, you're gonna see a crowd of people and a giant ship, and that's how you're gonna know you're there. And then you'll see a bunch of men in monkey masks,
yes,
wandering around, wheeling their partners,
yep,
and then climbing these posts. And the purpose of these monkey men is to spot the crowd and make sure that nobody has their phone out. So when you go, either don't bring your phone or don't whip it out, because they will immediately stop everything and like shine a light on you, point you out and say, put away your phone or else, which definitely never happened to us. But a couple people did try, not knowing.
And they got kicked out.
They got kicked out instantly.
Yeah. I mean, for a good reason.
And for good reason, because as it turns out, there are some interesting rules to the game.
Yes. Also, they threatened to throw feces at you.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that part.
They were like, they will throw feces at you if you find, like, if you
Where
bring
are
your
they
phone
getting
out.
the feces?
Girl, I don't know.
I've learned not to ask questions at Renaissance.
Go ahead. Talk about the rules.
Okay. So what this basically is like, it's a giant Jenga game, right? And on these Jenga pieces, they have little tasks for you to do. So some of them might be simple, like, okay, play leapfrog or whatever.
Yeah.
Others might be a little raunchy, like pretend you're having sex with this bench.
Yeah.
And
fully clothed or naked.
Yeah. And then they also have this option, I guess. I don't even know what it is. It's the cannonball.
Yeah.
And but how does the cannonball go off?
Well, if you pull if you knock down the Jenga block, that's a cannonball.
Okay, that's a cannonball.
And then also if you pull a certain block
that says cannonball,
then that's a cannonball.
Okay.
But also the host of the game can choose to cannonball.
Just call cannonball.
Whenever.
So when the cannonball goes off, however it's selected, it comes flying from the ship and it knocks over the entire Jenga tower, and everyone participating has to strip completely naked and put the tower back together.
Yes.
But tell us who played that game, Gabby.
I played that game.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
I played that game. I did.
Yes.
I did play that game. And you can go up with like whoever you want.
Yeah.
Or you can go solo.
Yeah.
And that's the chance. Like there's a chance that you're gonna get naked in front of about 200 people.
I wasn't prepared, so I couldn't.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And I played that game, and we went out, and
well, you pulled two strangers from the crowd.
I did pull two strangers from the crowd, and they were like, "Yeah, I'll do it with you,"
which is great. That's what I
love about Renfest.
Yeah,
everyone's down, and it just felt like a safe space.
Yeah.
But we go out there and we pull the blocks, and it's not a cannonball. And that's when the host was like, we got to get these people naked.
Yeah.
And they pulled the cannonball. We had to strip down to nothing and build that Jenga blocks back up to the top and then ran off. It was honestly one of the most like liberating experiences.
But you know what's so funny is I could completely see that from you. And I know at that time you were kind of going through a hard time. You were kind of in a dark spot.
Really dark spot.
We were, going on this trip, and even on the trip, like you were still in good spirits, but like
crying during the day.
You were definitely struggling. And I remember seeing you in that moment and
Naked.
seeing you naked, seeing you so young and wild and free, but seeing you so liberated. And I was just like, that was the first moment where I was like, there she is. Like, she's still in there.
Aww.
Yeah. And it was so great to see you like that, because you were sad.
I was the sad
You
girl.
got the sads.
Yeah. So moral of the story, go to Renfest.
Go to Renfest.
Don't bring your kids.
Don't bring your kids to a family event.
Yeah. Like y'all thought this was.
Yeah, I was not prepared for that.
Yeah, me neither.
Here's me dying in the heat because somebody wanted to have a fitness class in 106-degree weather.
Yes. So we were talking about this earlier. Christina's an event designer. And so I had a fitness pop-up last year at a company called Peach Factory. And I did this. It was a 70-person oversold event on the rooftop of one of these bars in Deep Ellum. And Christina did our design for it. And this is just
production.
Her. Yeah.
So
this is just a part of it. But
with and kind of going back to what I do, these are like brand activations. So the point is to get people knowing about you, your company. So she was just going to do this like all willy-nilly, like a regular class. And I was like, no, girl, people are going to be taking pictures. Like, we need them to know about Peach Factory. Yeah. So I basically built her a little stage, which this is just a small.
I know. I should have put more pictures of like the wall
everything,
and
the
everything.
Balloon wall.
Yeah, but just tell them.
We can add them later. But either way, it was a really cool event, and it was very cute and also very hot.
Very hot.
So that was a struggle setting.
Yeah, I mean, Christina was out there at 7 a.m. and then took the class.
Man, I'm so badass.
You are. You are. Yeah, so that's kind of just a glimpse of like what she does professionally. I'll put more pictures in there so you can get a better idea.
Yeah.
And then what's the next?
Oh my God. Okay. So Gabby and I don't know when this was, but we got hired to paint faces, sugar skulls at Tacos and Tequila Festival.
Yeah.
And mind you, I don't know why they hired us other than the fact that we're awesome, but we don't have any experience in painting faces.
No.
Like, I mean, what?
You look like a Dalmatian.
Why do I look like a Dalmatian? I'm supposed to look like a sugar skull. So the night before, because that's the best time to practice anything you don't know how you're doing, is 24 hours before you have to do it.
Less than. Yeah.
Less than 24 hours. So Gabby's like, come over. I want to practice doing sugar skulls. I'm like, okay. So she decides she wants to do a half face. And then she decides she's just going to wing it. And then she turned me into a dog. I don't know. I really don't know what that is. But we got paid. So
yeah, we did.
And no one complained. Honestly, I think it was because like we were fun to be around, because everyone that we painted their faces, I'm not going to lie, it didn't look good.
No, it didn't look good.
But everyone's like, oh my God, I love it.
Yeah. And they just wanted a little glitter, a little sparkle.
And let that be a lesson in experience in sales. If you create a good vibe and a great time for people, they will totally gloss over that you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Like, it's a little sugar skull. And then this is the last one.
Yes. Wow. Your hair is so long, and that's Tippy Tappy.
I know. My dog,
Tippy
Leo.
Tappy is Leo, her dog.
Yes.
This is your 23rd birthday?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
At Citizen. But this is just kind of I feel like a great representation of our friendship, of you just hyping me up all the fucking time.
Yes.
Throughout our entire relationship. And that was my birthday. I'm in a blazer.
I'm definitely a hype woman, maybe even a little bit of an instigator.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I remember at this night, I was told if I took my blazer off that I was going to get in trouble.
Really?
By my ex. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Ew. Red flag.
Red flag.
Don't let a man tell you what to wear. Really, ever.
Mm-hmm.
especially on your happy birthday.
On my birthday.
You shut up, sir.
No
He's
one likes
gone
you
now,
when you're
see?
23.
Exactly.
I think that's all of our pictures.
Okay, good.
But that was like a little fun little game of just like going down memory lane.
Okay. Some memories I don't have. But.
Yeah, some that we've lost along the way.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said earlier, I tried to start this podcast 3 years ago with you
together. And then the other day I called her up and I was like, girl, I just had a brilliant idea. We should start a podcast together. And she's like,
I almost croaked.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I was like, do you understand what we could have done the last 3 years?
I just had a brilliant idea.
Yeah. So I definitely think that we're going to do more episodes in the future. Just we have so much to talk about.
So much to yap about.
Yeah, so much to yap about. Like I said, we've got a daily yap session that we could easily turn into an episode.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that down the line. I've loved just like I feel like my friends are a representation of me and who I am as a person, and I'm very like proud of the circle that I keep and company that I keep, and it's very small. It's very limited. I can count on like one hand, like close
quality
friends.
over quantity.
Absolutely. And I think that getting to talk to you and like all the audience, like getting to know you is just like a reflection of me. So I loved having you on. Thank you. Before we go, is there anything that you want to say? No?
So.
Did you have fun?
I did have fun.
Okay.
This was a lot more chill. I was a little nervous because most of these episodes have been filmed in your own little personal studio.
Yeah.
In a very relaxed environment where you're just kind of like lounging on the couch. And is this your first episode recording in this studio?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
First guest, first official studio recording.
Yeah.
So, we've got like the microphones, the headphones. There's actually 2 people watching us right now.
Hey guys.
Hey. Which I, was very nervous about. And, I guess I'm a natural.
Yeah, you are. And I knew that in 2021. Bitch.
Okay, so you had the idea slightly before me.
Slightly. All right. Well, thank you for listening to episode 13.
Yeah,
the first guest.
13.
Yes. Yeah, you are lucky number 13. Okay. I hope you enjoyed the guest format. Definitely look out for them in the future. We're gonna have some really cool people on. Christina will definitely be back to talk about just everything and anything.
What you want to know?
Yeah,
leave some questions.
Yeah,
I'll
we'll tell you.
them.
Yeah, if you want us to elaborate on anything, I know we dropped some bombs on you.
Yeah,
but we'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
I'll see you next Tuesday.
I'll be here too.
Bye.